next we're gonna go to part 2, which is gonna be NF play. Now, it's gonna be opposite here because Rose is now gonna be the double masculine for the NF play, and Isaac's gonna be the. Is it gonna be Isaac? Isaac? No, wait. Who's gonna be double? I'm getting confused now.
I'll be double feminine, yeah.
Who's double? You're double feminine, but your TI is Oh yeah, right. Yeah, okay. There we go. Okay, so cool. Why don't we start with Rose first? So Rose, double masculine NF play. You're gonna be the most aggressive at playing. I already see it in this chat too. Like you're like for those that are not watching this, we have a secret chat happening, and Rose has been like just going crazy on that. Like so
throwing chaos in the chat.
Yeah, ironically, the
On the
idea of throwing the chaos. But, so Rose, talk about like being aggressive with your play, like double masculine NF play, you know.
Okay, so well, it's a demon for me, so I'm trying to learn to use it more and be okay with like the slight uncomfortability that I will cause by being double masculine play.
Sorry. Wait, you're it's a demon? I thought you're blast play.
No, I'm blast sleep.
Oh, okay. I got you wrong. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so when I was younger and I would double masculine NF something, you know, it's like everybody's head would turn kind of vibe because it's like, whoa, what the hell? But yeah, like I'm trying to learn. And then when their head would turn, my savior FE would be like, I can't, you know, do that. It makes everyone's uncomfortable or whatever. But now I'm trying to get used to like doing it now that I'm older. But yeah, what I find my NF play doing all day is, and me and Emily talk about it a lot, is we're like trying to pay attention to like communities and what sort of vibes are within different communities. So like NE is like all the stories that could be told and all the stories that people could believe. And then FE is like all the values people could have. And so when I like look out onto like the social spectrum, I'm looking at like, what are all the things that these little subgroups believe, or what stories are they buying into? And so when I'm NE playing with someone, I'm like kind of asking the question in my head of like what God, like not literal what God, but like what God do you pray to that I also pray to that could bring us together? Like what stories do we both buy into that we can like amplify with play? And that's what I'm like also tracking outside a lot. And I feel like it's, even though it's a third animal, I feel like it's very clear to me when I'm in social groups, like who's what, you know, these two people just broke off and they're talking about these things because they pray to this God, the God of jealousy or whatever. Like, I don't know, they pray to the God of trains are cool and they wanted to go talk about that, you know, whatever it is. And like that's what my NF play seems to be doing. And then that's also how I connect with people. Sorry if that was long.
No, it's good. Long is fine. Do you also like to ping off other people and see what like their purpose is, their mission, what drives them? Like, is that those kind of questions that you find that you directly ask people because it's double masculine NF play, or something that you don't really do?
I don't think to do that because I assume that everyone has multiple missions. Like I see myself as pluralistic, so I would assume everyone else is too. I don't believe that, like, I mean, I know people out there feel as if they have one singular mission, but like in reality, we all believe in like lots and lots of stories and stuff. So I probably wouldn't think to ask that question. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does in you guys' like context, you know, with NE-FE, because I think if you were to ask someone with NI-FI, they would say otherwise. You know, they'll be like, no, I have one mission. You know, like especially with masculine NI. So it makes sense in this context. Isaac, you're the opposite. Double feminine NF play. It's a savior state too. What are you doing?
Yeah, so this one is hard for me to understand actually, because it's very movable, and so it actually helped a lot hearing you, Rose, talking about this, because I just have a really hard time pinpointing exactly what it's doing. But one thing I've noticed it doing is I find that I feel personally responsible for being able to appreciate everything. And I mean everything. Like I feel personally responsible for not ever judging anyone for their way of life. if possible. Like I want to just like have my foot in a lot of different doors so that I can experience what other people are experiencing and learn to appreciate it. And I found this is in stark contrast to say, like I had a decent amount of like confusion about this is going to be hopefully not controversial, but I have some controversial thoughts about, say, like a militant atheism, because I used to come from that world, but then I met my best friend who is Christian, and I found this my entire identity was just like, wait, I'm wrong. Like I am obligated to spread as far as possible and appreciate as many things as possible. And it's like, even though I'm SI, even though I'm masculine OI, I still have this feeling like I have to expand. But it's very unclear exactly how that looks. And then, I mean, I was also thinking, I every now and then I'll use an analogy to just change my behavior. But I think that's the consume, actually. I think that's the consume coming in. The play is different. So yeah, that's like the best explanation I think I can give.
One thing that you said that I found very interesting was that you said that you found it personally responsible for not judging people's beliefs and whatnot, because of that double feminine NF play. But your double masculine ST sleep. So do you judge yourself very harshly then? Because that's going to be the opposite.
So yeah, so that's been something that I've been trying to reconcile really hard, because I am a scientist. I am on campus, like the physics building is right over there. I'm in a grad program for physics. And I have these very concrete ideas about how the world works that are grounded in science. And so it's very complex trying to simultaneously believe that there is only one truth and that I know exactly what it is because I'm consumed last. And also trying not to allow that to step on anybody else's belief system that lies outside of science. I have to, I am in charge of what is true and what is real, but everybody else can decide what is valuable and what they want to vibe with. And I'll just keep all that stuff, all that ST sleep to myself. And that can be my identity, that's fine. But I'm not gonna let that out. I'm not gonna let that attack people in the external world.
All right, cool. I want to hear Emily's and Julie's take on this.
Wait,
so,
can I ask
yeah,
Isaac a question?
Sure.
Hey, I don't know if you've ever come in contact with an FM in our quadra, but do you ever feel attacked by double masculine in F against your double masculine ST?
I feel not that I've noticed. I haven't noticed it. Usually if people come at me with like really masculine NF, my response is typically to just meet them where they are as much as possible and bend the truth only very slightly in order to tell them what they want to hear. Yeah.
Gotcha. So I noticed Andreas getting wiggly. So Andreas, do you want to answer this question about the NF play?
No, I just, while listening, thought about it. You know, I feel like I'm fairly balanced with blast, sleep, and consume, but play, that's the real trickster. Now I can do it, and I can definitely see myself doing it. And you know, as I'm trying to become more aware of it, you know, getting better, but it's still a big struggle. I'm seeing like, and I just in my head thought of, okay, in order to like really truly understand play, I have to understand the opposite of the sleep. And I feel like the sleep is the very serious, the very, you know, logical, serious, real person side of me, and the play is the childish, goofy, silly, funny essence of me, I guess. And I feel like, you know, TISI is like, okay, this is the truth and the reality, whether you like it or not. And then FE and E would go like having fun, being playful, making jokes, but won't pick, okay, so you may not believe in this and you may have something crazy as you think about is reality. And I accept that, and I don't want to necessarily pick that. At least that's what I feel for me, and I'm seeing some of the NEFE doing, but it's actually the one that's hardest for me to understand. I try to link it up with creativity sometimes, and I feel like sometimes fits and sometimes not, because the TISI part of it is also very creative in some sense, explicit mixed with TINE, you know, even though it's last, you know, it's still in the middle going back and forth real fast. So yeah, no, it was just like trying hard to think about, you know, the connection between sleep and play, I feel like. And that got me a little bit confused actually, because I don't truly understand any NEFE play truly. But what I have noticed a little bit, and of course everybody can be a psychologist or whatever of any type, but I just thought of it that an INTP, ENTP, whatever, they could be the best scientists because, you know, they understand TISI, the reality of the brain and the chemicals and all that. But the NEFE will play with you, trying to pick, okay, here, this comes, you know, reading between the lines behind the person and reading what are you emotionally feeling, because that's the NEF side of it, just reading without actually knowing. You haven't told me what you felt, but I'm trying to read it, you know, with doing things with you. I'm not necessarily doing always, but just, you know, trying to interact in a weirdly abstractly way, I feel like. Yeah, no, I was just sleep processing while listening.
All right, thanks, dude.
I don't have so much else.
I want to go with Emily and Julie because you two are very interesting. You're both double activated play. Let's go with Emily first. How do you experience? What are you doing with that double activated NF play compared to like these other guys?
Yeah, sure. I'm doing everything with it. It's one of my favorite animals. Because any FE play, the way I see it is understanding culture, FE people, right? So we're taking time, like what Rose was describing, taking time to understand the things that people are understanding, right? As opposed to what they're doing. I don't really care about what they're doing. I care about what they believe, where they're coming from, the path that they're on. So one of the notorious things about the NF plays in our chats is that we're always gossiping about everyone all the time. And especially for the double deciders, for the ENTPs, for example, we don't care about the people or like the actual drama of the gossip. We're puzzling the culture. We're seeing, okay, what is everybody doing? Why are they doing it? What is there to be understood about this culture and this thing? And we're just puzzling it from that. Like, so if you take, for example, The Matrix, Lana Wachowski, understanding the culture through this story that tells meanings of how people live and the way that they live in the construct that we all exist in, and abstracting it in a way that will influence people in a direction. And it's also because these two, N and F, are like the intangible functions. It's like very hard for people to see and understand what it's doing. It's like you know, Andreas was saying the ST sleep is like, well, for me, because I'm sleep last, it feels like, you know, chains around my ankles, like dragging me down to the bottom of the ocean. And NF play is like just rainbow and unicorn land, where we just go and understand all the fun and cool things.
Andreas, you had a question for her?
Yeah, sorry, I have to remember it again. Yes, like, do you also ask the question why someone believe whatever they now believe, or why they have this emotional state? Because I feel like sometimes when I'm actually doing my NEFE, I'm also going, I think why this person might have this problem is because of this, and they are even they are pretty unconscious of it, but I connect it to this over here because I've seen this over there. Is that how I shall
exactly,
understand it?
right.
Because I see it kind of like that.
Yeah,
sometimes.
So basically, in order to get to the understanding, you just have a series of why questions, right? So you see like, oh, this is a phenomena a phenomenon that's happening in the culture, and then instead of going and gathering the sensory of what it is, you just ask a series of like, okay, why are they doing this? Why is this happening? Why would that be happening? Why this? Why that? Until you can understand exactly why it's happening. And then that's what you also see Jordan Peterson doing. He's like gathering an understanding of the culture and then describing it. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. And then it's also just goofing off and creating chaos.
Like Rose.
Yeah.
No, so it feels like you guys are using the play and the consume together, like almost going back and forth to play and consume really quickly, you know, because you'll play with a person and then you'll use your NT to consume the Ys, right? Because Y is more NT and
Yeah.
NF is more like what is the point, right? Julie, you are an INTP, and IPs are supposed to be the ones that have the most trouble with the tribe, but you have double activated play, so you're probably going to be like the least tidal wave when it comes to tribe hate as a IP. Talk about how do you use your NF play compared to these other guys here?
Yeah, no, so that was really fascinating to hear from everyone, and I like see how I have pieces of it. So I've often been told by people that whenever I talk to them, that I kind of end up getting people to tell me more about themselves than they expected. Like they'll end up being like, oh gosh, I just like, I don't tell people this. Why am I telling you this? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just an interested party, you know? And as an IP though, the way my mom phrased it is she's like, you're not out talking to people much, but when you are there, like with them, like gleaning from them or what have you. Cause I am incredibly interested in people, and maybe to in some ways a greater and lesser degree because it's my special demon, right? It's my like precious. I love it whenever I like can connect with people. And I feel like that's a big part of it. I really liked hearing about everyone's culture and talking about that. That's definitely something more and more I blossom into kind of understanding different, what were you guys like? It made me think of like Game of Thrones. I think, Rose, you said like people have their different gods or what have you. And I've been thinking about that a little more lately because of like since Game of Thrones and like the archetypes people present and the archetypes people also want to be. And that's a newer thing, I think, as I grow more and more into using my FE. For me, I think my play has that facet to it. And then there's this serving the NE side, which is in part just like, let's be crazy, chaotic monkeys. Like, you know, one of my good friends is an ESTP and we just love being crazy chaos FEs in the world when I can, peacock is the term. But also I feel like I use my play as a very quick computer in when it serves the NE and then ultimately the TI. Like I will have these, like math for me can happen very fast. And when I was younger, I would almost actually like not trust it. I'd be like, wait, no, I have to stop. But actually I've learned like, no, let the fast play computer just be like, that answer, write the answer down and then go figure out where that answer came from. And that's also kind of my NEFE play.
There's one common pattern I'm seeing from you guys as you're talking about like NF play. Are you guys all super interested in theology? Is that something that you all find fascinating? Like different religions and beliefs and that? Oh, okay.
Philosophy.
Okay, because I just finished Jordan
Yes, okay.
Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, and he was like going all in like the theology stuff, and I'm like, what is this like weird obsession with theology? You know, like and I guess it's like a type thing. You know, the NF play are very fascinated with theology and discussing theology with other people and accepting of it as well. I don't know what you guys take on it.
Yeah, because it's like it's studying communities, and like one of the main ways we historically have SI historically
Their belief systems.
yeah, exactly. We've form communities around what we believed, which was always religion. Now it's a little more specialized and interesting, but yeah.
Yeah, I also agree. Yeah, it's definitely. I'm very interested in philosophy. I'm also more interested in debating like what can we figure out for ourselves about what is probably true, as opposed to reading a lot of literature that's already there. Like those are very different acts, I think. Like discussing what you've read versus trying to figure it out for yourself. Those are very different, and I'm interested in both.
All right. I think this is, unless anyone has any more last minute question about NF play, but I feel like this is the perfect transition to NT consume now. Any more last minute thing that you guys want to ask each other? Otherwise, no. Okay.
No,
okay.
but I have a statement.
Yeah, go for it.
NF play is not pure randomness, people. There's always a way that it's connected to what we're doing. Just because you don't see it because you're a dummy doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
It's the methods of the madness or whatever.
That's my blast on NF play.
All right. All right, guys. So that ends it for NF play.